Hey
Hi,
Adam,
Rado. How are you?
good. Another session ahead of us.
Absolutely. And I'm also excited about this one because it's yet another financial and finance adjacent topic. So this is something very close to my heart. So yeah, happy to do it.
Okay, so today's topic is investments, right? Investment sector.
Yeah, exciting. Very, I would say, yet another regulated topic online. So apart from focusing, it poses its own challenge that by designing a valuable and useful experience for visitors, we need to be mindful about what can be said and what needs to be presented. So all those usual suspects of disclaimers, education purposes only, things like this. But at the same time, there is a huge opportunity for benefits for interactive educational elements in this sector, and the interest is very, very high. So what we will see in a second.
I love it because there is a lot of numbers, a
Absolutely.
lot of charts and visualizations of like different portfolio types. So I'm also really excited because that's also a topic that is close to my heart as well.
Sounds good.
So let's say a few things about what we do, Adam.
Yeah, so at Crawley, we are focusing on, as you see on the screen, we transform static pages into interactive elements. What that means is that the marketing is shifting, and a lot of great content was written, produced in order to win the high positions in search engines such as Google. However, the behavior of users is changing. So we are not searching anymore. We are asking questions. So at Crawley, at wearecrawley.com, we transform the static content into interactive elements. And I like to say we give them the second life and maximize the conversions on a lot of great information that is shared online, just needs to be revived when it comes to the form it is presented. So yeah, I like to say what we see on the screen, we turn passive readers into active customers.
I like to add that all this content that was produced over the last few years, that's very hard to get through. Sometimes these are like blocks of text, long blog posts, a lot of content, but this content still is relevant and it still receives a ton of traffic.
Absolutely.
From Google, from large language models like Gemini, ChatGPT, and Gemini feeds on that content and serves that content to the users. But this content is very probabilistic. That's why we see a lot of hallucinations as a result. And basically, how I see this, our interactive elements, I see it as a fight against ChatGPT and Gemini a little bit because that's content that is that's the brand's content, that's validated content, and also the experience inside of that embedded interactive element inside of your page, the brand's page, a blog post or any other page can be validated by brand and by experts and can basically bring a superior value to the user compared with what ChatGPT or Gemini can offer. In many cases, not always, but it is something that could be very well designed.
We can see it in an example on the next slide with the company we see on the left, a very well written blog post about a very well researched and topic of what supplements are suitable during pregnancy and postpartum. So very special and delicate time in anyone's life. And that comes from the company that has been in herbal remedies and supplements for over 50 years. It is a very well written blog post. It is very informative. However, the form, over 1,000 words of a single block of text, of course, broken down with some images, can be a bit off-putting. And we see it in the Google Analytics that the bounce rate, even on such a valuable content, is getting higher and higher. What's even more interesting is that the traffic coming from Google of the specific questions that can be answered by this article are still bouncing. So people have been like, okay, I don't have time to read this. So our solution is what you see on the right, and they go hand in hand, that the element on the right is a simple interactive configurator that asks you, which trimester are you in? What are the challenges you face? Do you have any special requirements? And that will pull out of all the knowledge base and product catalog relevant products and relevant information for you. So this value exchange is pretty much immediate. And should the user want to explore further, okay, can you justify why you suggest lemon balm for anxiety or for the difficulty sleeping? You will get pointed into a proper content created and validated by this business to justify it. But this value of exchange happens very quickly. That increases time on site, conversion rates, average order values, and what's most important, this goodwill and brand loyalty that businesses can get by actually helping customers. So this is the example, the practical example of what we are.
Okay, so let's jump into the first brand for today's session. It's Yeah, it's your
Yeah,
brand.
like no. So we are.
Take over,
I'm
please.
laughing because we are shifting gears. We just saw babies and to the special moments, and now we are XTB.com, which is a global brand specialized in investments. They've got a trading platform, so anything from Forex, ETF, you name it, it's there. And again, like, massive brand, ton of traffic. Here, what we see on the screen is just the sub-segment of this traffic where users are asking about practical, what I call like, the intent is to learn. So how do I, anything from start investing to invest in a special asset class, or how do I even calculate my result? How do I plan? How do I trade? How do I find signals? And the volumes are huge. Luckily, XTB is one of the leaders, so they are very high in search engines. And this is thanks to a very extensive knowledge base, academia, online courses. They specialize in educating the market on how to invest and how to assess those asset classes. They even have, and a lot of this content is geared towards beginner investors. And case in point, what we saw before, on the very far left, you see just the first part of the page. I could scroll for days on all those blog posts on how to invest, what to choose, what to pay attention to. And each of those tiles take you to a blog post, what you see in the middle. That's a really, really long blog post. Static text, extremely valuable, but let's be honest, who's got time? If you are just browsing, exploring, this is much further down the funnel. So, and the topic is extremely relevant. But when we did our methodology of clustering, and if you go to the next slide, what those users are after, our process has unveiled over 30 applications that can be embedded into each of those blog posts. Just imagine the impact that each element becomes an interactive lead generator. So here on the screen, I just placed 4, and I chose the one in the top left we will see in the seconds. Topic clusters on how do I achieve certain financial goals, how do I structure my investment. That all spans out from I have a goal, I've got a plan, and I want to understand the steps, how to put things in order. But there are some more specific knowledge bases on, for example, what's called dollar cost averaging. I don't want to get too technical here, but just by regular investment can perform either trying to time the market or putting a lump sum at the beginning. And, there is a blog post, very informative, that proves you that regular and steady gets you the further, but it just asks itself for a personalized, okay, let's do the scenario. You've got $10,000, you put it either once or spread it or try to be smart and time the market. Then Market Seasonality Explorer, there is a lot of content, which asset class it's behaving in what way, when are the investment funds realizing their gains, a lot of content around this, and that also can impact your portfolio or even has to get you thinking about it. And time horizon optimizer, different asset classes based on the time frame you have for your investment. So I've also just 4. Each of them can have multiple layouts, multiple faces, and each of them can be embedded into one or more, often more, and hundreds of blog posts XTB has. So if you click on the link we see on the screen, this is a demo of this goal-based investment. I see it if the content we see on XTB is a bit further down the knowledge funnel exploration, the whole business could benefit from having a first point. Okay, why are we here? What's our goal? And how does it look regularly? If you, for example, choose a basic goal, buy a house in the next 10 years, that's the first one. Say, let's put some values here, and that will help us determine how is if our plan will get us to the goal we want, and how to allocate the asset classes, how the change will happen over time. So you can leave as it is, or depends on your appetite, what kind of asset classes you want to invest in. And yeah, if you go to the next screen, you see that, like, so what's your goal of $1 million over 15 years? You will have to increase your monthly contribution to meet your goal. And if you scroll further down, like, there are calculations that how much you will actually put in, how much ROI you will have. And what I really like about this is that there is a lot of content that a smart investor adjusts the size and structure of their portfolio over time. So we will see in a second that, how from year to year, or the stage, like, if you are early mature phase or close to closing your portfolio, you will see what the balance between bonds, ETFs, and cash on hand is changing. So this is much earlier than XTB comes in, but it's a great conversation starter in the conversion point, going like, oh, this is the overall of your plan. It's not even a plan. It's like, this is the projection. The math doesn't lie. And now either start on our platform with this knowledge, or speak to someone, or join the academy to help you how to structure your portfolio to meet your goal. And to be honest, as I was going through the content on xtb.com, pretty much each article could end with the invitation to start this process for yourself, and then end to the conversion onto the app and account opening. Of course, this is a content that can be classified directly as for educational purposes. Simulations, results may vary. Like, the lawyers are happy because that's actual math. Like, just one sentence that the past performance does not guarantee the future results, something that I think in the US and in the UK is compulsory, will work, but it's already educating people a ton. So this is the solution I would suggest for XTB.
I love it. I love it because it's just so much better than any education. You either have to like produce. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos which are of amazing quality, but usually what you've got there, or even like content, like blog posts, I read a lot of them and I try to educate myself. But like the best education happens when I can like the options myself, see how the chart reacts to my inputs, and basically I can maximally personalized that specific
you can add more goals
case to my case, so that I could like add my goals, my time frame, my age, my income, my savings, my type of investing, my risk appetite, and accept that, and then I can save it and stick to that specific strategy. That's amazing,
and
in my opinion.
what's good about this is that in the next maybe like by the time you're watching this app will already be extended slightly. Is that the usually, like, myself coming from a lot of fintech and financial institutions, the simulations become much more confusing, let's say, for the potential customers, that when they have multiple goals. So, for example, I want to buy a house in the next 15 years, but I want a car in the next 2 years, and holidays every year, stuff like this. And then, like, having a simulation that, look, first we allocate towards the car, you close this goal, then we put, like, every 12 months a bit for your holidays, but still the sum needs to get you to your home in 15 years. So, and now, like, and this is a great conversation starter for, let's say, the company that facilitates and manages your investment portfolio. Okay, this is your goal. This is how it's going to look like. This is how it can change. You already have a solid plan. Let's make it happen together. So this is a great lead generation for any advisor or planner that can make it even more tailored to the prospect. But yeah, we can talk for hours on this.
All right, so it's my turn now. So I picked a very close competitor to XTB. It's Saxo. So it's a company based in Denmark, but we're very well known in the US and in Europe. So I've analyzed the whole traffic, to be honest, of the whole domain, and they have a ton of traffic, a ton of keywords, a ton of also educational content, very similar guides, different languages also. It's usually the traffic I found. We are seeing traffic here, like over 1,000, 7,000, 10,000 visitors to specific pages. Most of them users coming from Denmark, Netherlands, United States, Belgium, and there is a long tail of European countries, basically. So even here we see, compound. It's a compound calculator, interest calculator. So There are some calculators in here. Also here, a compound interest calculator for a Danish language. There is also for Swiss, the same keyword directing users to the same calculator. So I found this calculator. So they've done this, but let's be honest. In the past, the resources that content marketing had available to build things like that was quite limited, because you had to like hire some developers that will design it, then they will test it, they will implement it, and maybe it might be simple, but it was still challenging. Today it's changing, and now the content marketing can release a lot of calculators, tools, interactive elements like these to all the blog posts. Like in here we see French blog post, then we see here the Danish one, and they all look pretty classic. A ton of text, long blog posts, the same as you've seen that you showed us, Adam, a second ago. And in my opinion, this one is a killer, and I love it. And I think that all of this content and all of these users that land on this page, and we are talking about tens of thousands of potential investors landing on these pages on monthly basis, they deserve to have such experience on these pages and to have that kind of elevated experience. I used our app, the beta version of it, to generate a couple of ideas for potential interactive elements. So in the app, we basically, I just chose only a segment of traffic. I focus on Forex.
Okay.
Forex education, Forex only, because the amount of topics is just huge. So this is the list of just the ideas just dedicated to Forex on the left, and here on the right, this is for like general purpose of like the most important, the keywords that have the highest volume of traffic. So on the left, Forex trading readiness assessor. So are you ready to trade in Forex? Forex trade profit loss calculator. So accurately estimate potential profits or losses of your Forex trade before market execution. It seems like there are some keywords. How does Forex trading work? So it's a bit more educational content. Forex market session and volatility tracker. So Forex market hours, most volatile Forex pairs. Some users are looking for specific charts that will show them how volatile specific pairs of currencies are so that they could trade them. So that's something that they are looking, and maybe an app could show them and visualize them so that they could like backtrack, backtest kind of different scenarios. Currency pair performance comparator. So basically it compares different pairs and gives a user more information. So from the not only Forex, here are some stock fundamentals, snapshot, future investment growth calculator, PE ratio, stock comparator, dividend income estimator, portfolio diversification grader, stop loss, and take profit calculator. So I will let's not dive into the specifics, but we can see here best placements, possible best placements, and the amount of potential volume traffic is just huge. Yes. So dividend income estimator, there are keywords related to dividends, and you have like content, educational content, investing for income, dividends, stocks, and so on. And some users would like to, it's visible that the intent of users landing on these pages, it shows that these users would like to get to know more about how to estimate income from specific amount they would invest in dividend stocks only, and how much would I get from these stocks on yearly basis, let's say. And now like diversification grader, so I will input my numbers into like what's my ratio, what's my split of portfolio, and how well diversified I am. Could you like grade me? So this is the first two apps I've created, and this one, home.saxo, learn guides, Forex, how to start Forex trading, has over 20,000 visits a month from different regions. So that's why I focus on this the most. These people come in because they want to trade. So they have some specific financial goals. Let's say they want to make $1,000. And of course, this is not a financial advice, but like more or less to know how much should they have in game, not in game, but like in investing, in trading. It's something that they have to calculate, like what's the risk to reward ratio. And let's say 1 to 2, number of trades a month, then how good of a trader you are. You have to like, expected win rate. You have to assume something. Then you add the risk per trade, per account, and then you can calculate more or less the starting capital that you need. I'm not sure if that's validated. I think that there is a lot of content work to be done with the potentially a team of Saxo team, let's say, that would have to validate if that makes sense or it doesn't make sense. Do they want to publish something like that? But I just want to show what's possible. To create something like that, as simple as that, it takes like just, doesn't take long. Another one is just a wizard, starter kit wizard. So do you know what Forex trading is? Yes, I know. Okay, awesome. So some kind of education on the way. And in case you make a mistake, so yeah, refresh this one. So yes, I know. Then you move to another one. Or do you understand what is a pip? No, please explain. Or yes, I know. And you can go through all of the questions and basically get educated on the way. And when you finally get a score, you basically are educated because you learned on the way, and you also get a score. And in case you haven't passed, you can start over and then get educated on the way. And in my opinion, it is a way better way of like engaging a user.
Absolutely.
And not only having a long form of content on a blog post, but just having a quiz, some kind of answers, so that it's easier to digest,
And it is
basically.
super interesting because in some jurisdictions, you need to prove before you are even allowed. For example, I think in Forex trading and in equities trading, the bank, such as Saxo or XTB, has to have some kind of proactive proof that the person they allowed to trade has a knowledge. So there is this very clunky, let's say, quiz that needs to if the market goes down, should you, I don't know, sell everything in panic or not? But here it's much more. So the first thing they do just to check the box. This one, what we see on the screen, is actually to make sure that and create this goodwill and all those elements. If we need to take one thing from this video, is that to have an immediate value exchange which benefits the viewer. So here we check okay, we're going to talk about Forex. There are specific terms, there are specific concepts. Let's assess if we are what level we are on, so we can adjust our content to your experience, so you have a better chance to make informed decisions in the future. So this is super cool. I love it.
I know by my own experience that internally in the platform, you have to pass specific tests. And these tests are, these are quizzes that you have to know how to pass. And I imagine people using ChatGPT to help themselves, but why not direct them to a page in which they can go through that phase of educating themselves, and then they can go back to the platform and pass specific tests so that they don't make a mistake while doing it. That's one way to doing the educational process of the users. But the one that I wanted to focus the most is like the 10 years portfolio time machine. So a lot of users are landing on the pages dedicated to portfolio structuring, investing, and like how should they think about investing in general and about my portfolio. And I know that this is very generic, but from a lot of users that are not that advanced, it is important to basically set some expectations. And I don't know, I imagine like some users are immediately wanting to go to 12% a year, and there could be some information here, yeah, or like 20,
Yeah, let's go.
but like some information, which percentage is actually quite realistic. One information could be, served to the user at this stage. What's the performance comparison? So you see the percentage, how the money that you like lump sum investment would look like if you invest today, and how it grows with time. And in here you see some different options of different portfolio types, and you can like click and add on top of it, so that you could see, if I invest 1% in stocks, what would happen in the last 10 years going back? Like if I would do it 10 years ago, how that money would, how did 100% US stocks portfolio would behave? So that's going up and down, clearly way more volatile than 60-40 portfolio. But what's needed here is so that these user could educate itself about the risk, about the volatility.
And let's be honest,
because
you can have I'm just looking on the way to improve this, that when you see those sharp drops in like your portfolio value, it's like, okay, imagine that, what's that, like a third of your net worth that is invested in stock has gone. Like, would you First of all, would you be comfortable with it when it comes to stress level? Would you have enough savings to withstand this? So like, literally, if you see in what's that, November 2010, like, would you be comfortable with a loss like this because that's the decision you potentially put yourself in front in the future? So I think it's definitely worth showing people like, but because it's based on the historical data, that's more relatable in the sense like, look, this is how market behaved. A lot of investors lost a lot of money in that way in that moment, and if they stayed, at least they could gain back some losses. But yeah, that's the beauty of
So
the stock market. So before you invest, make yourself comfortable with volatility like this. However, there are different ways to structure portfolio. We see 60-30, I think. Gold, yeah, Bitcoin. Okay, that would be fun. Yeah.
in my opinion, that's the best way of just getting a user ready. Passing just like giving a user a question. Are you ready for 30% drop in your portfolio? Yes, I'm ready. Sure, but it's totally different thing than if you send that user to that kind of app and imagine it was very hard to save this $10,000 or $100,000 or 1 million. Then you feel euphoric that it reaches 1.5 million and then you drop to 750. So just imagine that path. In 2019, you invested 2014, then 2020, it happens. Like imagine yourself. And I think that some users with imagination could make different decisions and be more educated if they would like go and stay some time with that chart and visualize that that specific scenario. And they would, as a result, if there would be more advanced section here, like what if I add 10% of gold? What if I add 20% of bonds instead of 30%? What if I add emerging markets to the mix and add some different ETF to the mix? I imagine that the portfolios could look totally different as a result.
I also see an opportunity of literally, that the system can notice, look, on that date, the market has lost 30% of value. So in the case of the portfolio we analyze, it's $500,000. Go back to your account, dear user, to that specific date. How much savings did you had? What obligations did you have? Were you paying any loans? So were you able to comfortably, stay in the market in that kind of situation? Because we need to, and as you said, visualizations, graphs are amazing to educate. And if we put in the sense to connect finance with psychology, a lot of money is lost because of, wrong decisions and acting on emotion. So here we can show them that even before opening an account, seeing a scenario like this, when something like this happens in the future, because let's be honest, it will, one way or another, the black swans are happening, we will see the user can at least be a bit more prepared in the sense of, okay, I saw something like this. Could, if we react, imagine the situation in our head, our brain kind of that doesn't distinguish if it's real or not. So yeah, I saw this. The market will bounce back. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it will. Selling on a drop, it's not the best way to.
It is just, in my opinion, good to put two portfolios next to each other. Then immediately each person has a different reaction. You say, I'm totally 60-40, or just I don't want to experience the extreme situations because I don't like it. And I can be different. My reaction to it is, oh my God, I want this, but I'm also okay with drop like this. And I think that this is the best way of educating users, backtesting and showing performance in different scenarios. And this is how they can build their perspective on how to structure uncorrelated portfolios. Okay, so that was my part, and thank you very much.
I think it's a great session and a lot of useful tools we can incorporate into financial services. So yeah, thank you, Rado.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much traffic, so many different tools to be added, to be created for the existing content and blog posts that receive tens of thousands of visits every month in different languages that, I absolutely recommend to try testing solutions like the ones that we just shown during this video. And feel free to reach to us via our website, wearecrawley.com. And in case you would like to consult, talk, we are happy to help.
Yeah, all the details are below this video, but regardless if with us or on your own, I think it's the time to look into tools like this. Yeah, on our website you can try it yourself with this ideas generator. You just put your URL and you'll get some ideas to get your creative juices flowing.
Thanks a lot and see you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.